Danny, welcome to Philadelphia. What are your first impressions on the floor with the guys on your team now?
Well, thank you for the welcome. I'm excited about it. First day, first day of school kind of thing. Even though I'm old, one of the older guys here. My first impression was, I like the energy. Guys are excited to be here. Guys are excited to learn from each other, play with each other, and compete against each other. We get a chance to get up and down some. Obviously, just getting a feel for guys' personalities first before I start try to, you know, not saying bark orders, but teaching them some things. I want to see how they operate, see how they do things before I start to say, you know what, let's try to do this or let's do that. Also, learning. I think we're all learning from not just each other, but the coaching staff. New system, new staff, new everything. Front offices. So a lot of new faces for everybody here, even guys that were here before. So we're all trying to fill out not just each other, but filling out the coaching staff, seeing and picking and choosing our places and spots, where to be on the floor, and what terminology they use, and what we're all comfortable with as a group, so day by day before we can start, comfortably challenging each other to a certain extent.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Paul Hudrick.
Hey, Danny, welcome to Philadelphia.
Thank
When
you.
we talked to Doc yesterday, he mentioned that, aside from what you can do to help Joel and Ben, maybe, he said the greater impact you can have is on some of the other guys, because you've done so well throughout your career in helping with, playing alongside star talent.
Hmm.
So is there any guy that that sticks out to you that maybe you could help in that way?
All of them. Even some of these guys, even though Seth has got some years, has been around for a while. Seth is another shooter, but just on defense on the floor, him, Tobias, Ben, Joel, understanding the game. Farrakhan, our shooters, guys how to come off screens, also how to guard shooters. So my job, I think, is more important off the floor than it is on the floor for this group. Just helping them understand the small details of what it takes to win and to be winners. So teaching them small things, said guarding pick and rolls, guarding screens, pin downs coming off, how to use those screens, how to talk to each other, be patient, and how to communicate defensively. Said I think that can help everybody, not just certain stars, certain people, but everybody across the board, from guards and bigs.
Thank you.
We'll go to Rich Hoffman. You're up, Rich.
Hey Danny, I'm just kind of curious what you've been up to the last couple of weeks, just because I think a lot of people, obviously you knew that this trade was going to happen, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't made official until yesterday. So I'm curious what you were doing.
The last couple of weeks is probably the first time I picked up a basketball, a couple weeks ago, and started working out. So I've been working out, even though we have the protocol and the league wants us to be safe. I have no choice but to work out off site. So I've been trying to find off site places to work out, get a gym, get some shots up, stay in shape, somewhat of shape, so that I don't come in so much behind the eight ball or behind the curve. So, just trying to find a place to live out here. With my fiance, my two dogs. Um, Said working out as much as I can, staying in shape, and just watching from afar, trying to get talk to the coaching staff, get familiarity with the players, learning what systems and plays by looking at and following, studying some of the film before I come in. But for the most part, like I said, just doing what everybody else has been doing, but in a different sense. I've been just working out and trying to get as much shots up and conditioning and my legs back under me since we had such a quick turnaround. It's only been 6 weeks, and I only had about 3 or 4 weeks off, no real vacation, and back to it. Back to work.
And as a follow up, you played against this team a decent amount. I'm thinking particularly in that playoff series a couple years ago. From the other side, what were your obviously the team has changed a little bit, but the two main pieces are still here. What were your impressions of playing against them?
A lot of their main pieces are still here, and they're one of the toughest teams. I always hated playing in Philly, one of the toughest teams at home to play against. Especially so with Joel, Ben, defensively, how good they were, how much they pushed the pace. Obviously Tobias, how great of a scorer he was. Um, but yeah, it was just a pain in the play, especially with the fans getting on you. But they shot it well at home. They played well at home. They defensively, they were a monster. They got after you, and that series was tough. They played us well. They played us to the very end, to the stretch. We won by a landslide. So just remembering how tough they were. Said when they had Jimmy too, but even without Jimmy, they're still the same identity. A very good, tough, scrappy group that hung their hat on the defense end of the floor and pushed the pace offensively. So you had to be very smart and strategic how you attacked them, and it was hard to get off easy looks against them. There weren't many easy looks, so you had to make tough shots against them.
We'll do a few more, starting with Noah Levitt.
Hey Danny, welcome. So Doc
Thank
said
you.
to us yesterday you're someone who's uniquely equipped to come in on day one and be ready to go. In your career, whether it's the D League, NBA, Slovenia, have you experienced anything like this where you have to join a team like in the middle of camp and have to be ready to adjust to their new systems and all of that? And how do you handle that sort of situation?
Luckily for me, no, I have not experienced it. I've been fortunate enough to be traded in the summertime. I've been traded, after the season where I get time to find a place to move, to actually implement myself with the new guys early and find the system. So yeah, this is new for me. Even though I said I still have some time to get acquainted with the guys, it's not mid-season trade, so I still look at it as positive. But yeah, this is the first time that I'm kind of starting behind the curve a little bit and not be able to be here first day one of training camp. But at this point in my career, I think everybody that's been around the league for more than 5 or 6 years understands that every team uses the same type of things, just different terminologies, different theories. So it's not much different. We do a lot of the same drills. It's just learning each other, learning the players, the people around you, and learning the terminology of which the coaching staff is going to use.
Thanks.
Keith Pompey is next. Go ahead, Keith.
Hey, what's up, Danny?
How you doing?
Welcome to Philly, man.
Thank you.
When you first started off, you mentioned how, when you first get acclimated with a team, you like to see what goes on during practice, see what guys are doing. What stood out to you today about this team that you didn't know about them before?
Couple things. I said, obviously a lot of new faces, but they still have their foundation with their three main guys. I like the energy. I like that they're open into learning. I said I haven't criticized. I'm not criticizing the coaches. I think they are a little bit, but I like the fact that they're open to criticism from the coaches and wanting to be guided. But I was impressed with the energy. So the guys. But I do think a couple things stood out, and things good and bad, and that I know that I can try myself to try to change for the better. So I'm not going to attack it right now. Still learning guys. Their mannerisms, their habits, and then grow a type of rapport with them first before I say, we need to get this guy into gear. We need to get this guy building habits of doing this the right way every time, or doing this at a full speed, or at least 80% in everything we do. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I get this times where certain things you can take your time with doing this early. You don't want to stress the body, but if you want to build those right habits, we got to go. 100 pace got to be full tilt, preparing for a game. Especially as we're getting closer to that date, and we don't have the date comes up quick. We only have but 2 weeks, so we got to get guys ready. We got about a week to get guys in shape.
And the last question, I know as a player you probably don't like getting traded and whatnot, but Doc Rivers said yesterday that you were a guy that they wanted to go out and get, because you know how to fit in when you play around superstars, and you also know how to win championships. So can you just talk about that when you have a guy who really specifically wants to come and get you for those two reasons?
Oh, that's amazing, man, to be wanted and to be sought after. So I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that they wanted me. Hopefully I live up to expectations, but also pressure's on them. I'm one back to back. It's their job to get me there and win another one. If they don't, they fuck it up. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I have a lot of pressure on me. Not a lot of pressure, but my job is to come in here and to help these young guys, and even some of the experienced guys, me and Dwight, to teach them and give them the winning atmosphere, the winning culture, and building that. And it's not gonna happen overnight. It takes day by day, and that's a process. That's a project that you hopefully by All-Star break, toward the end of the season, guys are mentally prepared for what's to come.
Thank you, man.
Let's go to Mark Narducci.
Danny, when you were first traded to OKC, did you know that you'd be moving on from there? What was the reaction for when that first happened?
There was a lot of moving parts. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that was the final destination. I know I had talked to my agent. I didn't get a chance to talk to Sam. I would have liked to, but I had a feeling that it wasn't the last spot. But I said I never got a chance to have that conversation. I had a chance to have a discussion, or actually, feel it out. But I respected and Sam and that organization of what they were trying to do, and I was them kind of seeking to go get me as well. Sought after me too. But I know they're in a rebuild mode. I know things are going to be difficult there and tougher there to rebuild or try to build a winning culture. It's going to take a little longer process. I never got a chance to actually talk to Sam, so it was in a feeling, but it was never really a discussion, so I didn't know.
So when it did happen, you were coming here. Just your thoughts of you were traded first to a rebuilding team, and now you're to a team that can contend again. How about your reaction?
I was totally caught off guard, surprised, but in a good way. I thought it was a great spot. I've been very lucky most of my career, and being put in positions of opportunity to be successful, not just individually but as a group. So yeah, man, I was excited about being back in the East and with a team that's a contender, and the pieces the movements that they were making, not just me, because after me they started making even more moves, picked up even better pieces. So I was like, I like what we got going. I like the pieces we have. I like the pieces they're going to get and the movements they're making. So I was impressed, and the fact that they wanted me and wanted me to be one of the guys to lead the team. So how can I say no to that? How can I not be excited about that opportunity?
Thank you.
Of course.
Last question from Kyle Newbeck. Go ahead, Kyle.
Hey, Danny. Welcome to Philadelphia.
Thank you.
So I guess you've been pretty fortunate in your career. You played with a lot of great players, with great big men specifically, like Tim Duncan, Marc Gasol, and then obviously you won with AD last year. How much can you apply in terms of floor spots and helping out Joel when he's in the post, just based on playing with those guys, and how much of it's just going to be a process and feeling him out individually?
Both, 50-50. But more so just, I said, because I played with so many bigs, I'm accustomed to playing out of the post quite a bit. And it started obviously with Timmy, LaMarcus, we had there. We didn't play as much in the post with Toronto, but Kawhi played in the post some. But with AD, Bron, JaVale, Dwight, even though they didn't feed him in the post much, but a lot of guys played throughout the post. But playing with those guys, I've been able to know the spacing easy. And I was kind of implementing that with the guys, these younger guys here, and them understanding how to move, how to cut, when to move, when to cut, and how to just stay spaced and be patient and let those guys operate and just be ready to shoot when and if they double and they find you. So yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that, and also be able to tell Joe and ask him, where he's comfortable with, what he feels in that area, what does he want me to do, and I'll just also tell him, I'm gonna be here for you. I'll be there. I'm usually either gonna move this way or move that way, so it'll be an easier pass for you. But it's just a communication factor of feeling each other out and what's comfortable for both of us to be successful.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
For sure, man. Thank you.